Today, while listening to a video at Chapin's Inferno, a wandering cauldron of politically incorrect commentary, I realized that almost everybody misunderstands the men's rights movement. In his Warren Farrell, Cucky Dean, Fat Paul, MHRM Frauds video, linked below, Bernard railed against Warren Farrell for supporting Hillary Clinton. Responding to a Mother Jones article linked below, Byrne resorted, as he so often does, to name-calling, calling Warren a, quote, complete sissy and a pussy, close quote, and a fraud, and that Warren does not, quote, care about men's issues at all, close quote. While I agree that supporting Hillary is a really stupid idea, I understand why Warren is supporting her over Trump, and I'll get to that in a moment. But first, of all the issues raised in his video, I want to address just two of them. The first being why Warren is called by many the father of the men's rights movement. The Mother Jones article said it was because Warren wrote a book called The Myth of Male Power. Not really. To the extent they remember him, Gen Xers and millennials remember Warren for writing that book, but Warren's history began many years before that. In 1974, Warren's first book, The Liberated Man, made him a darling of the liberal media. He was elected to the New York City board of the National Organization for Women and toured the country explaining why women are oppressed and why men need to change. At that time, he was still in college and was making more money than his college professors. But as he toured, what he heard men saying led him to realize that feminists had it wrong about men, and that if women were oppressed, then so were men. When he tried to speak about this, he discovered that the feminists didn't want to hear it. His speaking engagements dried up, book sales plummeted, and his income crashed. I want you to keep that in mind. He could have continued to profit by pandering to the feminists, but he didn't. Instead, in 1986, he came out with Why Men Are the Way They Are, which turned him into even more of a pariah with feminists and the liberal media. I first met Warren when he came to Seattle to promote his 1993 book, The Myth of Male Power, but I actually began corresponding with him before that, and he was very giving of his time and set an example for me. In 1998, he came out with Women Can't Hear What Men Don't Say. Father and Child Reunion followed in 2001, Why Men Earn More was next in 2005, and he continues to write, speak, and debate on behalf of men's rights, including a book project he is currently working on with John Gray titled Boys to Men. Yes, the men are from Mars, women are from Venus, John Gray. Blech. So while Richard Doyle could claim to be the father of the fathers' rights movement, and George Gilder could make a claim to being the father of anti-feminism, Warren's bona fides as the father of the men's rights movement far exceed any claim the rest of us can make. Which brings us to the second issue, which is the question, what is the men's rights movement? It is and always has been a reaction to the women's liberation movement, which started with second-wave feminism and extends now to fourth-wave feminism. It's a political movement, and it is intrinsically progressive. That is, the men's rights movement sees government not as the problem, but as the solution. So where freedom lovers like Byrne, Chapin, and me want to see the White House Council on Women and Girls eliminated, Warren is currently the chair of the commission to create a White House Council on Boys to Men. From its very inception, the men's rights movement has been dominated by big government progressives like Warren. While I began work on my first book, which was about feminism in 1988, I didn't become active in the men's rights movement until 1991. The people involved back then ran the political spectrum from liberal to conservative and from progressive to libertarian, but most of them were liberals and progressives. We were willing to set aside our political differences to confront our common foe, the totalitarian agenda of the feminists. But while many of us became friends, our alliance within the men's rights movement was always tenuous because by its very nature the movement was, is, and always will be progressive. Which now brings us to the question, why would Warren support Hillary over Trump? The answer to that is simple. While Trump may not be a libertarian, his sympathies lie with small government, and he is almost certainly not going to be willing to establish a White House Council on Boys to Men. Nor is he likely to expand government to include regulations to reduce women's rights or curtail them to the benefit of men. If anything, he's more likely to work toward reducing the size of government. That's a good thing. It's good for women, but even better for men. As Byrne has observed many times, men thrive under freedom. And when men thrive, women do too. But Warren is a big government progressive. He sees government as the solution to our problems, so he's going to support Hillary as the big government candidate. I absolutely oppose his position on that, but I still respect him for the work he's done, for his integrity to walk away from the fame and fortune when he had every financial and social incentive to ignore the plight of men and continue supporting feminist misandry, and I like and admire him as a human being. But then, my judgment may be lacking because I like and admire Byrne Chapin too. Oh, and yes, I'm also supporting Donald Trump. Let's make America great again. For the Backlash at Backlash.com, my name is Rod Van Mecklin.